Okay, now we're in extraction, which means we're looking at the analyses and selecting which coordinates that we want to include in these analyses and which analyses we want to include in our meta-analysis, since every contrast that's in a paper might not be relevant for our meta-analysis, especially if we're looking at, say, a diagnosis or a disease such as schizophrenia. And many of the studies might include reference comparisons to some matching controls that we don't want to include in our meta-analysis. So to get us oriented, this is the extraction page where we can filter the papers by year, by the name if we're looking for a particular paper, by the authors or journal, or even PMID if that is something that we want to search by, and even by status, which allows us to mark the studies as uncategorized, save for later, meaning I have looked at the study but I haven't made a decision yet, so I want to come back and look at this one in particular. Or completed, saying I have looked at the study and I have selected the analyses and edited it so that it looks exactly like what I would want to include in my meta-analysis. All right, so if we click on the top one here, we did say completed, but we could also switch it back to uncategorized. And we look at this information, state 1 and state 2. That might not be too informative for us. We'll see if there's another version available. Yes, that is the most recent version available to us. We get useful information such as the coordinates, so we don't have to manually type those out, which is fantastic. And to get context, again, we have the links to the study that we can look at here. So we can look for state 1 for the dominant state with longer dwell times. Okay, so yeah, so we can read the paper and get a better context of what that means and say, this one should be included or not included, or this one should be included or not included. And once we make a decision, we'll hit this obsolete floppy disk, which is the universal indicator for saving. And if we had another category that we wanted to include, we can create another Boolean, which is like included here, or number or string, if we wanted to keep track of other information about this study at the analysis level. So I could include another Boolean here that could be whether or not it was first episode or not. So I could call it first episode, question mark, and if either of these were first episodes or included participants in which was classified as first episode schizophrenia, then we could put a check mark in the box that tells us that that was the first episode. And once we're happy with those annotations, again, we can click on complete and save. We always save, and you can click to go to the next study down here. And let's see, what else can I show? I might need to move my box so you can see this little completed field right here. And other things to orient yourself towards are details of the study, which you often will not need to edit, unless if the information is categorically wrong, which for some studies this information might be, but it is typically not your job to get those fixed. You can click on the feedback here and tell us if a study was misorganized or not labeled correctly. And here's metadata, which tells us study level attributes, which we can use to help demark the study with certain attributes. So we could use sample size, but if we wanted to keep track of sample size per analysis, we would add it here as an annotation and not as something that we'd put in the metadata itself. Okay, so we showed versions, we showed the coordinates here, we showed the metadata and how we add new annotations, and we are ready to move on to the next study. All right, and say for this one, we don't like this version, we can switch out to a different version in which it'll say all the annotations will be removed. We had to remove the annotations when you switch versions because the different versions of the studies might have different analyses, and we can't reliably map what annotation should go to what analyses, since they might not even have the same number. So we'll switch here. We say, okay, we have this version. If we want to preview the version without actually having to switch to it, we can click on view the version. So that way you don't lose your annotations before you switch. So if you wanted to preview, you could just preview it like this and say, you know what, no, I don't like this version. I want to go back to the first version. And you can do that very easily. And from here, you can do some coordinate editing. So let's say, oh, this information wasn't correct, or I think when I looked at the paper, it was these sets of coordinates should actually be in a different analysis. So I can control X and not add another row, but add another analysis. So if I click here, I can add my new analysis and annotate it however I wish. I cut those coordinates so I can do Control V to paste them in here. And from here I can select the statistic, which was a T-map in the other one, and that was M&I space, so I can have that as M&I space as well. And if I like those edits, I'll hit the save button. I made that arbitrarily and I don't want to actually change the study, so I'm not going to save this, and I'm going to mark it as complete, as empty coordinates. So it gives me a warning, yes. So we'll take a look at that and we'll see, yes, we left these behind, and I will remove these rows and the platform will be happy with me to say completed. And even though it is happy with me with the current state, I didn't click save. So if I didn't save it, which I honestly don't want to do, I will hit continue. Otherwise, I will hit cancel and then I'll make the edits. So if I hit continue, then I'll move on to the next study. And if I go back and look at what I did, I'll see, oh, all my work was gone. So that is why we have that pop-up, so that your work is not gone. Okay, and you'll go through each of the studies. You'll click on the links to read about them. You'll look at, see if there's different versions of them that might work out better for you. Again, let me move my, what if I should be up here in this corner? Maybe there's less action going on up top. You can go and preview the articles or select which one you want and remove the annotations, because like, yeah, that one switched from one analysis to two analyses, and maybe I just want this one. Maybe that one represents the first episode, and maybe that one doesn't involve MBAC at all, so I don't want to include it in my meta-analysis. So I can mark that as complete, and I'll go to extraction, and if I am going through loosey-goosey, just want to see what things look like, I can mark all of these as incomplete and click advance, which will bring me back here. And then we'll talk about specifying a meta-analysis in the next video.